Hi there. Today we're going to continue our learning of trigonometry in oblique triangles by learning the cosine law. The cosine law looks a little bit uglier than the sine law, but it really isn't harder to calculate. This is the formula for solving for a side. So if you're trying to figure out the value of side C, it's equal to the other two sides squared and added minus 2 times the other two sides times the cosine of the angle opposite the side you're trying to find. So let's take a look at it in this example. We are trying to solve for side B. So we have to change this formula. Instead of solving for C, we're going to be solving for B. So it starts B squared. Now, the AB and the AB, those are the other two sides. So in this case, the other two sides are A and C. So it's A squared plus C squared minus 2 times A times C times the cosine of the angle opposite to the side you're trying to find. So whatever this letter is here should be the same as this angle here. So this is going to be angle B. So step 1 is to substitute. So we have B squared equals, remember A is opposite side A, so that's 5 squared. C is opposite side C, so that's 4 squared minus 2 times 5 times 4 times the cosine of the angle that's opposite the side you're trying to find, which is 35. The second step is to do all of this all in one step in your calculator. So 5 squared plus 4 squared minus 2 times 5 times 4 times cos 35, or if you have a non-display calculator, 35 cos, and then don't forget to press equals in the end. So this works out to 8.23. Now don't clear your calculator after that, because now the third step, what we have to do is to take the square root. Don't clear what's in your calculator. It'll be 8.233 blah 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 blah. Leave all those numbers in your calculator, and now just press the square root button. And if you have a display calculator, you'll have to press equals after. If you have a non-display calculator, you won't. But when you take the square root, you will get 2.9. Always round side lengths to 1 decimal place. If you leave this number as exact in your calculator, you'll get a more accurate answer than if you just take the square root of 8.23, chopping off all those numbers afterwards. So that's how you solve for a side. Solving for a side, you will always have the SAS case. So you have a side and another side and the angle in between, SAS. So two sides and the angle in between, that's when you use the cosine law. Usually just as a nickname, I call this an angle sandwich because the angle's in between the two sides. So I wouldn't write that on a test that it's an angle sandwich because that's not very good math communication, but just for your recognition of using the cosine law, it would be the angle sandwich, which is SAS. So that's how you use the cosine law to solve for a side. To solve for an angle, we have to rearrange this formula. It's not as easy as the sine law, but once you've done it once, you don't have to do it again. So what we want to do is to get cos C isolated by itself. So what we're going to do is we're going to add 2ab cos C to both sides because we want to get it over here and be positive. So that's going to give you C squared plus 2ab cos C equals a squared plus b squared. The next thing to isolate cos C is you're going to subtract C squared from both sides. So that will give you 2ab cos C equals a squared plus b squared minus c squared. The last thing to do to isolate cos C is to divide both sides by 2ab. So your final formula is cos C is equal to a squared plus b squared minus c squared over 2ab. And that's your cosine law formula for a side. So you will be given this formula. The problem becomes when not every triangle has A's, B's, and C's. So what I want you to know or to recognize is that the only negative in the formula is this side right here. And that side is opposite the angle you're trying to find. And the AB are the two other sides. So if you're solving for angle C, the only thing that's negative in the formula is the side that's opposite angle C. So let's take a look at this in an example. We're trying to solve for angle A. So instead of cos C, we're going to start cos A equals. Here, the AB are the two other sides. So that would be b squared plus c squared minus, remember the only one that's negative is the side that's opposite the angle, minus a squared over 2 times the other two sides. So first step is to substitute. So that means cos A is b squared, this is b, which is 8 squared, c squared, which is 6 squared, minus a squared, remember we just said that a was 5, over 2 times b, which is 8, times c, which is 6. Second step is you're going to calculate the numerator and denominator. So the numerator, 8 squared plus 6 squared minus 5 squared is equal to 75. 2 times 8 times 6 is equal to 96. And now it just kind of looks like SOHCAHTOA. Your next step is going to be to take the sine inverse of both sides. Sorry, the cos inverse of both sides. So that means C is equal to cos inverse of 75 over 96. And in your calculator, that is equal to 39 degrees. When you're solving for an angle using the cosine law, you need to know all three sides. So that's the SSS case. You need to know all three sides. That's the only way that you can find an angle using the cosine law. If you don't have all three sides and you're trying to solve for an angle, that means you'd have to be using the sine law. So that's how you solve for a side. This is how you solve for an angle. What you're going to do now is try examples 3, 4, and 5, and 6. And then, so you're going to pause the video, try those examples yourself, and then you're going to check your answers. So please pause the video now. Thank you. Okay, welcome back to the video. Here's your answer for question 3. You're solving for side y, so the other two sides are xz, and there's the opposite angle y. Here's example 4. You're solving for angle P, so you've got MN. The only negative one is the side opposite P, and MN on the bottom. Here's example 5. And here's example 6. So if there were any of these that you didn't understand, please make a note of it and ask your teacher the next day. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.